Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Good afternoon and welcome to Trail Talk. Man, we're so glad you guys could join us today.
It's windy and warm.
Yes, it's hot, man. It's like summertime hot out there.
Like we go from one to nothing.
Yes, exactly. So we hope that you guys are not losing hair or articles of clothing in the wind. I mean, it's a very Oklahoma thing to be super windy,
That's
but
right.
don't you feel like it's been extra super windy?
I feel like it's been extra and it's gone on for so long. This is the new norm.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And like it's supposed to blow like this for the next few days.
I mean, we're talking double digit. I mean, it's just, we
Yeah.
don't have a breeze anymore.
Right. Yeah. It's either all or nothing.
Right.
So anyway, enough about that. Our lesson today on Trail Talk is not about the wind, although we could.
We could.
Well,
We could also.
next week, we're supposed to be about tornadoes.
Oh, well.
So
yeah.
I think that's a timely kind of
Yeah,
lesson,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
I'm just going to point out the elephant in the room. Yes, Mary is sitting down. She has an ankle injury, and so we decided to bring her a chair, which I literally rode down the ramp here because
Without injury.
Without injury, yeah, I did not injure myself on
Yes.
that. That's a new game that we're gonna have around here.
I was
maybe.
able to join you. I didn't have
Yeah.
to sit this one out. Well,
That's
I'm sitting
right.
this one in.
Yeah.
I'm sitting it out.
She is, yeah, that's right. Okay, so we're talking about famous homes and mansions in Oklahoma. You guys might remember when we were talking about the governors, number 6 through 10, we talked about E.W. Marland and how he built this Marland mansion.
Right.
And it kind of triggered this idea to talk about these. And y'all are not going to believe how many famous homes there are in Oklahoma.
There's several.
Yeah, so this is volume 1. I should have put that. This is volume 1. There will be more to follow. Anyway, so to kick it off, we're going to dive right into the Marland Mansion. Now, interestingly enough, this was like the second super big house that he built. Yeah, the first one that he built, they referred to as the Grand House because it was on Grand in Ponca City. But I mean, look at that place. I have a friend who their son got married at this place.
Oh, really?
And so I had seen some pictures, but I don't think I was able to truly appreciate like the outside of this place and just how expansive. And just
Those little balconies. I mean, it's just like
the rounded
the architecture of it there.
Yes, the tile, the curved tile. I mean,
Can you imagine? I mean, just if he lived there, even, I mean, let's go out on the veranda there, my big grand staircase.
Right.
Enters the house.
Yeah, let's go have breakfast on the terrace this morning.
Let's go into the garden.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. But at any rate, so E.W. Marland lost his money in oil ventures in West Virginia and Pennsylvania. So he came to Oklahoma. Took him about 4 years to finally hit oil. But then once he did, boom.
That's all it took.
Now, the house on Grand was finished in 1916, and listen to the things that it had in 1916. This is not the mansion. This is the house before, right? First of all, it had like 22 rooms. It had a central vacuum system, automatic dishwasher, an attached 3-car garage, and the first indoor swimming pool built in Oklahoma.
I mean, we're talking, like you said, 1916.
Yeah, and that's not
we
the
don't
mansion.
Have those things in our homes today.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm just like this house. That first house had to be crazy.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, Governor Marland, E.W. Marland, he was the one who. Let me just refresh your memory in case you forgot, because this is one of the wildest stories.
Oh, it's crazy.
He and his wife had no children. They adopted her niece and nephew, George and Liddy.
Right.
Raised them as their own children.
Adopted them.
Yes. And then his wife, Virginia, died. And while he was building the mansion, so she never moved into the mansion. The mansion was completed in 1928. He took Liddy, went back to Pennsylvania to her hometown, had the adoption annulled, and then married her in her actual birth parents' home.
Mhm.
And then they went on an extended honeymoon and came back
In
and
the
moved
house.
into the mansion.
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't
What
think
a
I'd
tangled
feel-
web we
oh,
weave.
oh,
That story just has a lot of things
yes.
going on.
Yes, it does.
But at any rate, he was one of the biggest oil men in Oklahoma. I mean, at one time,
Oh, he controlled 1/10 of the world's oil reserves.
Yes.
In 1922.
and more than a third of Ponca City's population were employed by his
By him.
oil company.
Mhm. Yeah.
He owned 1/10 of the world's oil reserves. That is, I mean, that
I
is
mean, that's-
amazing.
Yeah.
And all of that oil was here in Oklahoma.
Yeah, because we were like the
Yeah.
main
Yeah.
or main place to get it.
Yeah, so anyway, when he built this is built in an Italian, he wanted to have his own palace on the prairie,
Mhm.
which, just side note, that's what they call this Owen Stadium,
Oh,
where the Sooners play. They
Yeah.
call it the Palace on the Prairie, but that's just a side
Side
note.
note.
Yeah. Anyway, so John Duncan Forsyth is the architect who built this amazing, beautiful home. So then, okay, by the 1930s, he and Liddy moved in,
right,
the niece
Slash-
daughter / wife.
right.
They moved in 1928. Then by the 30s, they could not afford the utility bills.
It's like,
Yeah. I think I read somewhere that there had been kind of a hostile takeover of his
Oh,
oil company.
really?
And so he was in kind of a, like he was still on the board, supposed to be in kind of a role where he would, like an advisory role, but he
He
didn't
didn't have any
really
power.
have the power.
Anymore.
Yeah, and so that's when he became interested in politics. Well, first of all, they moved to the artist
Right.
studio. So that means that there was a studio big enough to be a house.
Yeah, on the grounds.
On the
there.
grounds,
Mhm.
yeah. And then he got into politics. He was elected to the House of Representatives in DC. Then he became the 10th governor of Oklahoma, where he was successful in getting that oil well drilled that's on the state capitol building.
Right.
That's thanks
That's
to Governor
Uh-huh.
Marland. Anyway, then he moved back to Ponca City in 1939, and they moved back into that studio.
Mhm.
But then the original architect redid the chauffeur's house. or
Right.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah, the chauffeur's house, yeah.
house. And so they could have a suitable living.
Right.
I feel
Suitable.
like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
suitable.
They had a way of, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, finally in 1941, he had to sell. And
Oh,
he's-
it's crazy.
This place was valued at $5.5 million and it was purchased for $66,000.
Talk about your bargain find. there.
Right?
Can you imagine?
No, I cannot. But basically, I'm sure they were just like, we can't afford to pay
Anything.
anything
Yeah.
for the
Upkeep,
upkeep
yeah,
of this
right.
place. And so a
Man.
group of people, the Carmelite Fathers, I feel like this is like a religious kind of group because it went on to say that somebody's sisters ended up, the Felician
yeah.
sisters announced they were planning to sell the mansion.
Right.
So from the Carmelite Fathers to the Felician sisters, I feel like that has to some kind
Like a
of
Catholic,
yeah, maybe. Uh-huh.
Or
I probably should have pursued that, but I didn't jump down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm able to be here right now.
Otherwise, she'd still be
I'd
in
still
there.
be, yeah. Anyway, so he died like 6 months
Yeah.
after he sold the
Right.
house.
Mhm.
And then Liddy went into seclusion. And so here's the weird story of Liddy. So she people thought she had died.
Yeah, because they never saw her.
saw her, but she was actually living here. And she, in 1953, she loaded up her Studebaker with paintings and tapestries and left Ponca City and was not seen again for 22 years. So again, people thought she had died, but she was still sending money to pay the taxes
On that, right,
on
property.
this. Yeah. And she, anyway, she kind of got interested in several, like, I don't know, like protest kind
Yeah, I
of
was gonna
things,
say,
like
it's not really
movements.
politics, yeah,
like
but yeah,
movements.
right.
And one was about the Vietnam War.
Civil rights.
Yeah, civil rights. I mean, she kind of just got into all that stuff. Anyway, she ended up moving back in 1975. And she moved back into her little cottage and stayed there until she died in 1987.
Right.
Yeah, so
Very reclusive.
yeah, very just a weird thing. Now, a side story, which is a little rabbit hole, but I thought this was interesting. The brother George, we should know what happened to George. So Liddy's brother George, who was the nephew / son / brother-in-law,
Right.
he ended up, he graduated from Ponca City. He went to University of Pittsburgh and Yale, was in the military in World War I, came back to Ponca City, worked for the oil company. Then when his dad was kind of ousted, he resigned and purchased a Buick agency, stayed there for 4 years, then got back into the oil business with his dad. Like this was probably post politics,
30.
maybe. Anyway, then in 41, when they sold the house and did all that, he died. He and his wife, Laverne, moved to the Tulsa area and with their 3 kids, Larry, Ann, and Margot, and he became an independent oil lease broker and then died in 1957. So there's the rest of the story, but I have some other pictures. Look at this. This is like tile work on a ceiling here. I really want to go tour this place. I really want to see it firsthand.
Right.
And just check out how that is so beautiful. You can see some people are kind of working on it. I don't know, cleaning or restoring or something. And then here is a beautiful picture. This is like probably the area where they have weddings and that sort of thing. But this black and white floor, this is, I've seen pictures, yes. And those big ceiling tiles and everything is just, that
rounded archways.
Yes,
doorways.
And look, that color, that's like that tile tapestries, just a very beautiful, just amazing, truly a mansion,
right?
It's
like those. Look at the wall. It's not even like walls, like we're used to. This is like
these
big
are
stones.
Big stones, yes, they look like they're probably hand honed or whatever, just hand cut. Who knows what that is? But this is probably the closest thing to like a palace,
right?
That you will have in the U.S.
Right.
We don't really have,
especially in Oklahoma.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, we're going to go next to the Frank Phillips home in Bartlesville. Have you been to this place?
No, I've been to the Frank Lloyd Wright
place.
Yes.
Okay. So Frank Phillips, Phillips Petroleum, Phillips Oil Company. He was an Oklahoma millionaire. So in 1897, still having land runs.
Before statehood.
Yeah. The frontier town of Bartlesville, Indian Territory, the northeast part of the state, became a site for the first commercial oil well in Oklahoma. And oil entrepreneurs streamed into this area. This is also not Bartlesville, but Pawhuska is very near there, where it's Osage country, where all of these same oil and gas entrepreneurs were trying to get their hands on the oil and gas from the oil wells, especially that belonged to the Osage people. So it was all a big thing. Anyway, eventually Oklahoma became a state. And in 1907, Oklahoma was also the nation's leading producer of oil, a position they continued to occupy and share through the tumultuous
Right.
years that followed. So Frank Phillips was an ambitious barber turned bond salesman.
Right.
This guy
From
definitely.
Iowa.
Yeah, from Iowa. That's very unassuming,
I
isn't
know,
it?
right?
In 1903, he went there to look at business possibilities. And then 2 years later, he came back with his wife Jane and their son John. And after a series of failed drilling attempts,
Right.
he had 81
In a row.
in a row
Mhm.
where they found oil.
He's like, boom, 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 boom.
81 in a
Yeah.
row. I mean, he was like the wildcatter of
He's
wildcatters,
like
I
the
guess.
oil well whisperer.
Yes, yeah. Or he's like, he's got the old man with the witching sticks,
Yeah.
you know, who
That
could
they
find
could
water.
it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he could find oil. He acquired these 10 acres of land in 1908, and by 1909, the home was complete. And it's built in a neoclassical design, and it's in downtown Bartlesville. I guess I have never been to Bartlesville.
I mean, I think, I
don't think I
don't think it's
have.
very big though. If I remember correctly, or at least the area that I went through, it didn't seem
It
like it
didn't
was
seem
that
big?
big.
I feel like though, they had like a big, like swimming facility up there. And I feel like they had like a swim team, Bartlesville. I think they're like 5 or 6A
Oh, really?
school. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are.
Maybe I just didn't pay
So,
attention.
anyway, it's since being built that there's been 2 remodels and an extensive exterior redecoration.
porch.
But yeah, the porch is beautiful. Again, they have the beautiful tiles on the
Mhm.
roof, these pillars. But it definitely has that neoclassical,
Mhm. Right.
the architecture here with the, I don't know the right architectural words. I
Right.
wish I did.
I know, right?
Because all of these things have names
Mhm.
and
They belong to a certain style.
yeah, but it's just lovely. Just a lovely home, the
Mhm.
stairs and the
Right.
steps are going up. Anyway, so Walter Everman was the original architect. The first major renovation was in 1917, and they added a whole southwest wing, a sunroom, and a children's suite.
Mhm.
And a $500,000 renovation began in 1930, overseen by a man named Delk.
Delk?
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if y'all can hear our air conditioner.
I was
making a
wondering what
weird
that noise
sound out of
was.
there, but anyway, he also helped design the Country Club Plaza in Kansas City and the Villa Philbrook in Tulsa,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
we've looked at before,
Right.
and Oklahoma Wesleyan University
There in Bartlesville.
also. So anyway, they added a southeast wing, separate
Mhm.
bedrooms for Frank and Jane. That sounds like personal information, not necessarily.
Right, they could have just had 2 bedrooms.
Yeah, but anyway, and it was the first in Oklahoma to be air conditioned.
Right.
In 1938, it had
Who
air
wouldn't want to go
conditioning.
visit them for the
Right?
weekend?
Yeah. Are y'all having an event? And then the home also has an elevator,
Yeah.
which
It's her Christmas
Jane,
gift.
yeah, Jane gave him
Now, how do
Frank
you,
for a
how do you
Christmas.
kind of like hide that?
I don't know. I don't
Construction's
know.
going on, just look the other
I'm
way.
wondering if it was like he was kind of declining in his
Yeah.
ability to go
His health.
upstairs. So maybe his hearing had slipped or something.
Could have been.
I don't know. But there is a library, dining room, kitchen, multiple sitting areas. They always had guests coming to
Well,
see
yeah,
them.
they had air conditioning.
Right? I mean, and no one's turning down an invitation to go to the
No.
Phillips house.
That's right.
They love to entertain, and they not only had one son, John, but they had 2 foster daughters who they loved and evidently raised as their own children. The first floor was kind of their entertainment. Yeah. The second floor was where their private rooms and the girls' private room was. Then the third floor was mostly for John, their son. And then there was also a butler's room up on that floor. And then after here, John left home.
It was guest quarters.
Yeah, they had guests up there. Anyway, after, so their granddaughter inherited the home, and for 25 years, she tried
Right.
to
Keep it up. Right.
preserve it and everything. And finally donated it to the state of Oklahoma in 1973. And so the Frank Phillips Foundation, which, you know, Phillips, they still do a lot of
Right,
things, but they
right.
also own the Woolaroc Museum and Wildlife Preserve,
Mhm.
which from what I understand is a super cool museum
To go to
up there. Yeah. Anyway, you can go on guided tours
of the home.
of the home. Yeah, you would just need to, you know, I just Googled for Phillips home,
Yeah.
Oklahoma, or
Right
Bartlesville
up.
or whatever. Yeah, and everything comes right up. So anyway, let's look at some other pictures of this place. Okay, so
Okay,
this is the room
Mhm.
where
Yep.
the daughters stayed. I mean, the twin beds, the frilly curtains and everything, but also the dolls. That's why I picked this photograph. Old dolls like that are
Creepy.
yeah, and they kind of make me
I'm really
laugh.
sorry if you like them, but they give me the willies.
They kind of make me laugh. I'm always intrigued by carpets like this that have like a design like that. It always kind of is.
Well, and I'm wondering where they
interests
got the blue.
me. Yeah, yeah.
Where does
so-
the blue come into play? there?
Anyway, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was their, oh, this is like a pretty dress with a lace collar on it laid out for one of the girls to wear or something, but yeah. Anyway, can you imagine growing up in that home?
No.
I mean, what a great, beautiful place. And then here is a picture
Whoa.
of that paneled room with the library. Just
I just
amazing.
imagine like a fireplace over here and then sitting
Mhm.
at night drinking their brandy or
Yeah.
whatever it is, you know, just smoking a cigar or
Yeah.
his pipe.
Reading from his vast
Right.
collection of books.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really, but I mean, look at how it's preserved. This furniture is probably original, or at least, you know, from the
Right.
30s. I mean, I guess maybe. And the books are probably his original books. The light fixtures look like the original
Mhm.
kind.
And look at these big curtains. And, I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah, all of that stuff. I love the way this
you
looks.
can almost smell the room.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that kind of
uh-huh.
old time smell,
Mhm.
the books and everything.
Right, yeah. So anyway, super cool house. Again, one that you can go take a guided tour. So you would want to definitely give them a call, or at least
Don't
look up,
just show up.
try to schedule
Yeah.
something. Yeah. Okay, so this next one is called the Morel or Mural. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. Home or Hunter's Home.
Mhm.
The man who had it built, George Morel or Merle, he liked a good fox hunt. And so he named it the Hunter's
Hunter's
Home
Home.
after that. This is actually
It's near Tahlequah, right?
near Tahlequah in Park Hill, which is near Tahlequah. It was, Park Hill was a Cherokee settlement up there near Tahlequah. Tahlequah is the capital of the Cherokee Nation.
Mhm.
Anyway, this is an antebellum style home. And I never found anything that said for sure, but it is presumed that it was built by African-American slaves who belonged to the family.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the reason this is built in the Cherokee land, on the Cherokee lands, is because the Mr., how shall we say his name?
Murrell?
Morel,
Yeah.
we'll say Morel. If someone knows, please correct me. He's from Virginia, and he was born there in 1808. And he and his brother moved to Tennessee to get into mercantile business
Mhm.
with a man named Lewis Ross, who became his father-in-law.
Right, right, because he married his daughter.
Yes, in 1834, he married Minerva, which is a super cool name. He married Minerva, and Lewis Ross is the brother of John Ross, who was the longtime Cherokee chief.
Mhm.
He was, in fact, the chief of the Cherokee Nation during the Trail of Tears movement.
Right. Which was in 1838 to 39.
Yes, and so Mr. Morrell was married to into this Ross family. And so when the Cherokees were forced to move, even Cherokee people evidently who were married to white people, because Mr. Morrell was a white
Right,
man,
right.
he chose to move with the
With them.
Cherokees,
Mhm.
which is just kind of a weird way to say all of that to me, but anyway. And so they came to Oklahoma, what became Oklahoma. They came to Indian Territory, settled in this Park Hill area, and he wanted to have this kind of home because this was what he loved.
Right.
He loved this style of home. I think it probably reminded him of Virginia.
Right, the where it came from.
Yeah, and so his slaves went to work building this home. So there were also a lot of outbuildings. Like I think originally there were 9 other outbuildings.
Several.
But if you were a slave owner, you would need places for the slaves to live, as well as things like a smokehouse.
Yeah. The blacksmith, corn cribs, and
grist mill.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a full-on plantation.
Right.
Basically,
spread, right.
It was a plantation. So the home became a museum in the 1950s when a cousin of the Morrell sisters, who would be George and Minerva's children.
Okay.
She was hired as a curator to preserve its 19th century legacy. And so now today the grounds still have the original spring house, smokehouse, cabin, and corn crib. And it operates as a 19th century living history farm where you can interact with people dressed like period dressed interpreters.
Right.
This is cool.
Right.
This is very cool. I did not know that this was
It kind of
a
reminds me
thing.
of like that Sweet Home Alabama, where they reenact
Yeah.
all of that there at that home.
Yes, or like Williamsburg,
Mhm.
Virginia, where all
They
the
do all
people
the
dress
reenact-
colonial
yeah.
and everything, yeah. And it says the living history season runs from Labor Day to Memorial Day. Now, I don't know if this information, is like post-COVID or current information,
right.
or if this is like from prior. I guess that this is just a family-owned or kind of museum.
Right.
I was about to say that it was perhaps part of the Cherokee Nation,
right.
but I
There's
didn't see
yeah.
anything that indicated that it belonged to the Cherokee
Right,
Nation
yeah.
at all. But at any rate, if you want to go to a cool place where they reenact things, this would probably be a really neat place to go.
Right.
Yeah. We went to Thomas Jefferson's
Home.
Monticello
Mhm.
one time,
Yeah.
and it's the same. The house is,
reenactment.
His home was a very original design.
Uh-huh.
He's so brilliant. He could dream up all these things, but they had the outbuildings, and you could see
Saw
how
that too.
like it's basically its own community. It's like a separate
Self-run little
yeah,
area.
exactly. And that's kind of how I'm picturing this place, that it just ran
Goes
on its
on and
own.
on, yeah.
Mhm. I mean, 9 outbuildings, that's a lot.
Right.
So anyway, the Morrell home or Hunter's home, which I know I'm pronouncing correctly.
No question on that one.
No question on that one, near Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And we have a couple more pictures. Here's like a spinning wheel. This is probably inside, I don't know, the cabin or one of the other outbuildings that they had. And then this next one is a cabin. This also looks kind of like, we stopped at Andrew Jackson's home by Nashville, which is called, I can't remember what it's called, but the cabins
That
looked
looks like a
almost
smoke shop.
exactly.
It looks like a smokehouse type thing, or something.
But they look almost
Almost like that.
identical.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, Nashville, Tennessee, they came from Tennessee.
Right.
So this would be
Something they
they were familiar with building
Right.
places that look like
Right.
that. All right. And then lastly, we have the Henry and Anna Overholser Mansion in Oklahoma City. Look at this place.
were. Yeah. You might get this Meyer and make me live there.
Right? I mean, I love this. This one reminds me of like the Smithsonian Castle thing that's in
Right,
Washington
right.
DC. It has like
The-
spires
right,
and
yeah.
kind of these octagonal
there.
things. Yeah. So this is actually open Tuesday through Friday. Tours are at 10, 12, and 2 by appointment. Reservations are not required on Saturdays. So this is a French chateau style home that was completed in 1903. Now, one of my favorite, Henry Overholser
Mhm.
is kind of like Mr. Oklahoma City. He is really
Right.
credited with Oklahoma City
Mhm.
becoming the metropolitan area. I mean, Oklahoma metropolitan area. I
Right.
wouldn't say we're like super metropolitan, but still, becoming the city that it is.
Mhm.
And his son Edward was even mayor at one time. But so he purchased 3 lots in Classen's Highland Park edition,
Mhm.
okay, in 1902. And people were questioning why they were built, he and his wife were building so far away from
In the
town.
country.
Now, this is actually at like 15th and Hudson. If y'all ever
Can you
drive
imagine if that
downtown,
was in the country?
driving downtown Oklahoma City, 15th and Hudson is in the middle of
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so
Mhm.
people were wondering why they were building so far out.
Oh.
The heart of Oklahoma City's business and social life was over a mile to the south,
Oh, my.
and the rail lines went only to 13th Street, 2 blocks south of where
that
this
land was.
Yeah, this
Mhm.
was. But the plots of land were very flat,
Right.
and I think it was reminiscent to what they had seen when they came to Oklahoma in
Mhm.
1889 for the land
The land,
runs.
Right.
So it's super cool to me that the Overholsers came to Oklahoma. Well, it was right after the land run of 1889. So they were here to see Oklahoma settled.
Right.
And they were a part of all of that, and then built this place in 1903.
Yeah, I think they've improved the land a little.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to keep their plot for sure. Yeah. So the reason they built the home like this was just, the taste of the Overholsers. They liked the way this looked. Have you all noticed that all 4 of these homes
Different styles.
are very different
Mhm.
architectural styles? Isn't that something? Anyway, they was built by an architect who was trained at London's Kensington Academy, so very influenced by
Prestigious.
European tastes. It had Brussels lace curtains, English carpets, and French stained glass windows. The furniture reflected the high style of that period. And there was a gala
Yes.
held there in 1904. And when they had that, everyone was like, I think people probably were like, oh, look at their house, 3 lots of
Right.
land,
Right.
far away from
You have to go to the
everything.
country.
Yeah, we have to drive a mile to get to their house. But when they had that, the Daily Oklahoman
Mhm.
had us as comments, the house is a sermon on beauty. It is uplifting and ennobling as works of art are ever. The taste with which it has been decorated and is furnished is flawless and shows a praiseworthy mastery of the subject, and the whole Overholser house is an incomparable example of the possibilities of beautiful home building. Wow.
So in other words, you
High
guys can
praise.
maybe get there one day.
Right? Yeah.
They're there.
High praise.
Mhm.
So I thought that was a really neat thing. So they moved in here. They had their only child, a daughter named Henry Ione.
Mhm.
which is a very
Mhm.
unique name. And he died in 1915.
He didn't get to enjoy it that long.
Well, and his daughter was only 10.
I know.
How
Yeah.
sad is that? Anna continued to live in the house until 1940, when then it passed, of course, to Henry Ione.
Right,
She married, never had children.
right.
Then she passed away in 1959, and she was pretty young too. She was
Mhm.
just 54.
Right.
Anyway, so her husband, David J. Perry, was left as the heir to the mansion, and he ended up donating that.
Mhm.
Well, no, he sold it. He ended up selling it. I thought that was an interesting
That
thing.
he sold
These
up
other
and
homes
donated.
were donated.
Right.
He sold this house to the Oklahoma Historical
And all of its
Society.
contents as well.
Yeah. A little side note, from 1956 to 1968, U.S. Senator Mike Monroney lived in this house.
Really.
Yeah. I thought that was a little
Mhm.
interesting. I guess, did he rent it?
Right.
I mean,
Did you
I-
need all that space?
right? I thought that was kind of an odd thing. Anyway, the son-in-law, Mr. Perry,
Mhm.
said that this is what Mrs. Overholser wanted,
Wanted.
either the state or Oklahoma City to have the
Mhm.
house. And so she would be very pleased. And then Preservation Oklahoma is responsible for keeping it
Right.
beautiful like it
Mhm.
is. So I found this cool picture. This is whenever they first built the corner of 15th and Hudson.
Look at that.
Yeah, no tree. I mean, they were
There's a
right.
shadow of a tree.
Yeah, there is. It's a tiny tree.
Uh-huh.
Here's one planted here, a couple
Right.
there. Which, yeah, they grew. The trees grew up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, look at how flat you can see forever out there.
Mhm.
I mean, way out that way is probably Edmond, maybe. That could be north, or that could be west, either one,
Mhm.
I'm guessing. Anyway, look at how that place stands out. These
Mhm.
people thought they had a big house. They were
Talk
like,
about outdoing your neighbor there.
check out our big pretty house out here in the middle of nowhere. Oh, yeah. Check out our big
Are
house.
you ever gonna quit building?
Yeah. Anyway, just a showpiece of a home,
Mhm.
and very beautiful. Look, I found this beautiful picture from
Wow.
inside.
Yes, candelabras.
Yeah. I feel like they probably keep it in really beautiful condition. And again, just type in Overholser Mansion and you can find out if tours are available and how you would be able to see those. There were like varying prices on some of these houses and what kind of tours, whether it was just open to the public or you had to have a guided tour and things
Right.
like that. So
Reservations and whatnot.
yeah. So anyway, here are the first four, our first installment of
Mansions.
famous homes and mansions here in Oklahoma, and we got more to come. So tomorrow, Carrie Evans from the Chickasaw Cultural Center is going to Zoom in, and I think it's going to be a super interesting trail talk. She's going to talk about kind of the history of the Chickasaw people and
Things
give
they
us like a little insight to the cultural center, which is fairly recently reopened, I'm pretty sure. Maybe limited visits. I don't know.
Hours.
We'll find out tomorrow when we talk to Carrie, but be sure and join us at 3:00 tomorrow because it will be a really great show. And thanks for watching today.
All right, guys.
Yeah, so we'll see you tomorrow.
Happy
Happy trails.